Yeah. It's interesting. I want to go back to what you said before about universal consciousness. Actually, what does that mean to you, and what is, in your opinion, the universal consciousness?
So every single object, starting from a tiny grain of sand all the way to the mightiest planet, is made up of energy. And this energy to me is what pervades entire being, right? So that for me is what you find in every single object, animate or inanimate. And this is exactly what we are taught in the Vedas, that we are just a part of that universal consciousness.
Mm.
We're nothing more than that. It's just that we perceive ourselves as something different. But ultimately, it all is a part of that great
Yeah.
consciousness. Because, now recent studies, if you hear what Sam Harris, the scientist philosopher, has to say, he says that such a thing as free will doesn't exist because we don't know where our thoughts come from, right?
Yeah.
We do not determine what we think. If we could pre-think what we were to think, then there is such a thing as free will. If not, then the whole concept is very difficult to come to terms with. So
Yeah.
I think quantum mechanics, quantum physics is starting to show that matter as we perceive it is only because of consciousness. So if you go back into an atom, for example, now quantum physics tells us that 99.9% of the atom is empty space with merely vibrations in it. A vibration is
Yeah.
nothing but an energy, which means that 99.9% of the universe is merely vibration. And we are only perceiving matter through our consciousness. So consciousness is everything. And when we talk of universal consciousness, it's when we step outside of our ego and we say, okay, we are a very tiny speck of sand in the beach of consciousness.
Yeah. And the fact that, I like that you said that, with stepping outside of your ego, in order to see that we're just part of this massive vibrational energy, and we're just this little part. And I think that's tough for people to get outside of their own little bubble and feel
Right.
maybe not as important. But when you speak of it like that, it's almost like everything, including yourself, is just as important as each other. So without one piece, this doesn't work. Like, when you see what's going on in the world, whether it's naturally, if you look at the skies everywhere, the natural disasters happening, the virus is happening, what are your thoughts on the universal consciousness, how we've been affecting the world, and how the world has been affecting us? Like, what do you think the balance is there?
So the thing is, in the past couple of decades, I think we as human beings have become far more selfish, far more materialistically driven, and we're really driving ourselves away from nature. And when we talk of universal consciousness, one of the things which is most essential is that we stay in touch with nature, to stay in touch with the core of what is already around us in a natural fashion, not with the artificial things that we have created. So I think in the past, say 50, 60 years, this race towards commercialism, materialism, you call it what you want, has actually impacted the entire consciousness of the universe to an extent where the universe had to take a step and say, look, guys, wake up. It's about time that you did something about this before you bring about more catastrophic results. Let's wake up now and let's do something about it. And I think in the past 6 months, I have seen that a lot of people are embracing more natural ways of living, are wanting to embrace things which they didn't even dream of 6 months ago, when all they could think of was that Prada bag or the Rolex watch. I think now the desire is more, how can I find out more about, what I'm headed for, what my purpose in life is, how can I be of use to the planet? So I think in a way it's a course correction which the universal consciousness has brought about.